Have you ever looked at a trading chart and thought, what am I even looking at? Indicators everywhere, each one telling you something different, while all you really want to know is, should I buy or sell? That's where the Beep Boop indicator comes in. Yes, I know, the name sounds a bit like a gadget, but trust me, this little tool might just be the simplest way to spot trends and momentum shifts without frying your brain with conflicting information. So, what is the Beep Boop? How is it different from the classic MACD? And most importantly, how can you use it in your trading to make better decisions? We'll cover all of that in this video. Let's go. Okay, for starters, the Beep Boop is a custom indicator created by the guy behind the YouTube channel Trading Rush. It's basically a simplified version of the MACD. If you are unfamiliar with the MACD, no worries. It's a momentum indicator that tries to tell if the market is speeding up upwards or downwards. It does this by comparing two exponential moving averages. The Beep Boop keeps this ID but makes it super simple. Instead of displaying the MACD line, the signal line, and the MACD histogram like it's the case at the bottom of the screen, Beep Boop that I just added below just gives you a binary histogram. Like literally, a green bar means the momentum is speeding up upwards, while a red bar means the momentum is speeding up downwards. But here is the interesting twist. Those signals are filtered by a trend EMA, usually a 50-period EMA. So you get a colored signal only when the momentum and the trend are aligned. So to be more precise, the green bar means momentum is speeding up upwards while being above the 50 EMA, while a red bar means momentum is speeding up downwards while being below the 50 EMA. And all of this information is represented in a very simple and visual way in just one indicator. In fact, it's kind of like having a traffic light for your trades. Simple, visual, and effective. And until recently, this indicator wasn't available anymore on TradingView. Sure, there were some modified versions of it, but not the original one from Trading Rush. Luckily, I still have the original code, so I republished it on TradingView to make it available again. So if you want to find it, you can just type Beep in the search bar of indicators, and it will be this one, Beep Boop, published by Opsid. And apparently, I've made a few people happy because after publishing it, I was spammed with likes and notifications. Okay, so how about now we do a little exhibition match between the MACD and the Beep Boop to see which one of these indicators is better able to detect and ride uptrends or downtrends. So we're going to create a trading strategy on the Opsid platform, and we will backtest it on an asset that has trended pretty well in the past, like Bitcoin, for example. And we're going to test the following strategy that will be only based on the MACD. We will say, for example, on a one-day chart, buy when the MACD histogram is positive. So this will be our buy condition, and we will say sell when the MACD histogram is negative. So this is a very simple strategy, and we will backtest it over the last 7 years, and on each trade we will just place all of our capital, like we will literally go all in. The point is really to see if the MACD is able to detect and ride trends properly. So I'll just hit next, and the strategy is now ready for the backtest, so let's go. And while the backtest is running, please let me know down in the comments section whether you already used the backtest or not, or if the Beep Boop is an indicator that you knew before. Okay, the backtest is ready, let's check the results. Okay, so obviously it's really not that great. Over the last 7 years, basically our capital has basically gone nowhere. It was flat for the first 4 years. Then we had a sudden spike during the 2021 bull market, and then it all went crashing down to just go sideways again. We also have a pretty huge drawdown of minus 76% between this high here and I guess the lowest point, which is right now. So basically, all of the signals given by the MACD on the daily chart over the last 7 years on Bitcoin really wouldn't have allowed us to really grow our capital over time. Yes, sure, I know that relying on only one indicator for a whole strategy is not enough, but if an indicator such as the MACD, which is supposed to detect upwards and downwards momentum, really over 7 years wouldn't have allowed us at all to catch or ride any trend in a meaningful way, then is there really a point to using such an indicator? So we'll now see if the Beep Boop is able to do better. So I'll recreate a trading strategy, again on Bitcoin, and our rules will also be simple and only based on the Beep Boop. So I'll just say on the one-day chart, buy when the Beep Boop is green, and we will sell when the beep boop is red. We'll also test that over the last 7 years, and we will also go all in with a fixed position size of 100%. I'm launching the backtest and we'll see the results. Okay, verdict? It's obviously much better. The beep boop seems to have ridden trends in a much more meaningful way than the MACD, as we can see the capital grow over time. The total return has been above 3,400, while the returns for the MACD over the same period were about 90%, and the drawdown is still high but a bit lower than the MACD with minus 57%. But the big difference is on the equity curve. While if you recall, the MACD was going nowhere for 4 years, then we had a sudden spike and then it all went crashing down and then nowhere for 4 years again. So while the MACD was struggling, the beep boop was clearly allowing the capital to go up over time. And again, using only one of these indicators is not a proper way to have a trading strategy. But over the last 7 years, the red or green signals given by the beep boop would have done a much better job at identifying and riding trends than the MACD signals. And since these indicators are sometimes used to give a trader a bias, whether a bullish bias or a bearish bias, then obviously the beep boop would have clearly been the winner here. We can even do that test again on smaller timeframes if you'd like. Okay, let's do it. I'll just modify the MACD strategy by saying not 1 day chart, but 1 hour chart. And this time we'll not use 100% of our capital on each trade, but let's say 5%. And here we go, let's start the backtest. And you have to know that using the MACD for such signals on small time frames, this is a very difficult exercise because on smaller time frames there is way more noise and ranges, and this is clearly the type of market environments that will give the MACD and the beep boop false signals. Okay, the results are here, let's check them out. Oh wow, obviously this is clearly running to the ground, so you don't want to use such a strategy. I don't see what else I can say. Though this strategy, the more you trade it, the closer you get to being bankrupt. We're now going to do the exact same test, but instead of using the MACD, we will use the beep boop. So I just told Opsid's AI to do the same thing on a 1 hour chart, buy when the beep boop is green and sell when the beep boop is red. I'm starting the backtest and here we go. Okay, though not awesome, this is still night and day between the MACD and the beep boop. While the MACD was clearly going to ruin, the beep boop is actually not giving a negative edge. So once again, the beep boop did a much better job than the MACD, and our sample size is pretty big, 2,000 trades. Though, as I mentioned, relying on such signals on small time frames is clearly not ideal for indicators like that, because on smaller time frames you have way more ranges and horizontal phases, which gives a lot more false signals. But despite that, the beep boop still does not have a negative edge, which is the case, unfortunately, for the MACD. I know that instead of using the MACD or the beep boop or whatever, a lot of traders use the 200 period EMA to have a bias. When price is above the 200 EMA, they're only looking for longs, and when price is below the 200 EMA, they're only looking for shorts. But does the 200 EMA actually do a better job than the beep boop? So I made another test using the following rules. On a 1 hour chart, buy when the price is above the 200 EMA and sell when the price is below the 200 EMA. Is it better? Well, here are the results, and again, it does a much better job than the MACD. But is it clearly better than the beep boop? I wouldn't necessarily say so. The capital evolution resembles what the beep boop gave us, with a horizontal phase during the first 4 years, then a spike during 2021, and then it slowly corrected that. But in terms of like CAGR compared to the mean drawdown, the beep boop did better. But once again, over 2,000 trades, this is not a negative edge. When it comes to identifying trends or having a bias, everyone has their favorite tool or indicator. But if you've been struggling with too many false signals or setups that seem to go nowhere, or just a lack of clear visual information, then you might want to see if the beep boop is helpful and give it a shot. You can find it on TradingView as I republished it, or you can also prompt strategies that use the beep boop directly on Opsid. And of course, you can also combine it with other conditions or timeframes to create more robust strategies. If this video helped in any way, feel free to like it, share it, and subscribe, and I thank you very much. As for me, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.